Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today's 26th of March. The first news is opposition call for a law to regulate the cryptocurrency. This is a long pending demand coming from the opposition and other stakeholders. Second news, UGC draft rules to make entrance test must for the PhD admission. This is what the University Grant Commission has to say. Third, Sri Lanka to set up special Northeast Fund. We'll see the detail about this as well. Second last, China seeks normal ties with India, but India has categorically stated unless the situation and the normalcy is not maintained in the LAC, we cannot move forward. And the last is an editorial, Forging the Social Contract for Data. So this is an editorial from Hindu. We'll understand the detail in a simple manner. Apart from this, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based question. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And just to tell you about our prelims mirror, this is open mock test which we are conducting. So you can check the details of the date which is there in our websites, right? For more details, I have provided a dedicated link in the description section. अब वहाँ check करें और अपने आप के register करें so that you can prepare yourself for the upcoming prelims examination. The first news of the day, that is opposition call for a law to regulate cryptocurrency, a very important issue in India which like surrounded for entire session although. तो क्रिप्टो करेंसी को लेकर के गवर्नमेंट के पास कोई एक कंक्रीट पॉलिसी नहीं है. गवर्नमेंट हैज ओनली स्टेटेड दैट क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज नॉट लीगली अलाउड इन इंडिया, राइट. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2, Government Policies and Intervention for the Development of Various Sectors and Issues Arising from it, Design and Implementations. So recently during a debate which was ongoing on the Finance Bill, लोक सभा में जो अपोजिशन मेंबर्स हैं उन्होंने स्ट्रेस किया है दैट देयर इज अ नीड टू हैव अ लीगल फ्रेमवर्क टू रेगुलेट द virtual digital assets such as cryptocurrency, right? We have seen that the maximum number of people are investing in cryptocurrency which is not regulated in India. Western countries में भी basically regulations है. For India, neither RBI nor the government has given an essay. So it cannot be misused to finance terror and narcotics smuggling. This is what the opposition has to say. The reason being, the opposition want कि इसको रेगुलेट करने के लिए लीगल फ्रेमवर्क बननी चाहिए ताकि किसी भी तरह से जो क्रिप्टो करेंसी के वैल्यूएशंस हैं, जो मनी है, जो पैसे रेज होंगे, वो टेरर फाइनेंसिंग और नार्कोटिक्स स्मगलिंग्स में ना यूज किए जा सके. Now, the opposition member have also noted that the government was sending a mixed signal with regards to virtual digital assets and demand clarity. So opposition has raised a concern and they wanted to know the government stand in terms of regulating with the legal framework of the cryptocurrency in India. Now, demand for crypto policy ki baat, it's not new. It's already been there in the previous session also. So raising concern over the cryptocurrency functioning in India, opposition ने demand किया कि जो virtual digital assets है, that should not become a preferred route for laundering, drug smuggling and any sort of crime. So the leader specifically demanded that a ban on crypto, saying that बहुत सारे ऐसे committees हैं जिन्होंने भी suggest किया है that at least there should be imposition of 30% of the tax on the capital gain, right? So see, there are two type of capital gain which is operating in the mutual fund or in the share market. One is called short-term gain, right? This is called short-term gain, and other is long-term gain, right? So these are the two taxes which government impose. तो यहाँ पे बात की गई है जो कैपिटल गेन टैक्सेस है उसमें 30% तक गवर्नमेंट इसमें चार्ज करे एंड गेन आउट ऑफ द वर्चुअल डिजिटल एसेट व्हेन देयर इज नो लेजिस्लेशन ऑन देम. जब तक कोई लेजिस्लेशन नहीं आती तब तक उस टोटल वैल्यूएशन जो प्रॉफिट हो रही है उस पर 30% गवर्नमेंट चार्ज कर सकती है. एंड दे हैव आल्सो आस्क्ड द गवर्नमेंट टू क्लैरिफाई ऑन द पोजीशन ऑन क्रिप्टोकरेंसी की गवर्नमेंट की क्या स्टैंड है, whether government is inclined in future to come with the bill, and if not, what are the stricter policy that is regulated by the government of India. This is what the demand is coming with regards to the crypto policy. Now, if you look into this infograph, you'll easily identify that almost 1.7 million of verified user are investing in cryptocurrency, or you can say the virtual currency, right? 2 to 10% of Indian share are all over the market. और जो valuation की अगर बात की जाए at present, this is 430 billion a global market size, right? So definitely जो draft bill होगी, it will prohibit mining, buying, holding, selling, and dealing with the another pool of cryptocurrency that is before the parliament, right? So this is how the things need to be taken care of in terms of regulating the cryptocurrency in India. Now, talking about India's crypto conundrum, if you look into the prospect of cryptocurrency. So, what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a virtual currency which is a single unit of a complex code which cannot be duplicated, right? इसमें digital asset assign की जाती है and it is used as a medium of exchange. And there are multiple currencies such as Bitcoin and other stuff. Mostly India में जो बहुत ज़्यादा चर्चित है, that is Bitcoin. Some concerns related to the crypto spans. So valuations and various virtual currency is not in the hand of any central bank, and regulation of fear for the actors like fly by night exchanges again a concern. So legal aspects की अगर बात करें, India does not have any policy to recognize the cryptocurrencies, right? Even in April 2018, the Reserve Bank of India has banned the banking system. Basically जो cryptocurrency की regulations है या फिर जो भी चीज़ें हैं उसको banking system के से बैन कर दिया है. नो क्रिप्टो ट्रांजेक्शन वाज अलाउड, बट टू सम एक्सटेंट सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो ऑर्डर्स आई है, दे हैव ट्रिगर्ड द मैसिव बूम इन दिस रिगार्ड, राइट? सो व्हाट द एक्सपर्ट हैज टू से. So expert fears that the crypto boom would draw a significant amount of household saving which could be vulnerable to the crashes. So definitely a legal framework, a legal backing which is backed by all the conditions essentially required for India. जो expert holder की views हैं और जो RBI के regulations हैं, जो global practices है, everything need to be taken into consideration before any legal framework come into action. Now, the other news, UGC draft rules make entrance test must for the PhD admissions. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2 in mains, that is issues related to development and management of education and human resources. So recently, the UGC, that is University Grant Commission, they have drafted a regulation where it called for a mandatory admissions, or you can say the test that is required to join the undergrad PhD program, चाहे वो undergraduation के बात हो या post graduation के बात हो, right? So this is what the UGC has to say. And as per the new rule, the candidate who wish to pursue for the PhD, राइट, तो उनको नेक्स्ट एकेडमिक सेशन से एंट्रेंस एग्जाम देने होंगे विच वुड बी कंडक्टेड बाय द नेशनल एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट. जो जिस तरह से नेशनल एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट होती है, एनटीए जो नेशनल टेस्टिंग एजेंसी है, दैट वुड बी कंडक्टिंग ऑन दैट पार्ट. सो स्टिल इट हैज़ नॉट बीन कन्फर्म दैट एनटीए वुड बी टेकिंग इट, और किसी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ वो अपने लेवल पे भी एडमिशन्स ले सकती हैं. So last year, the Tamil Nadu Higher Education Ministry has announced university would continue to offer MPhil degrees, citing their representation from college and teachers. So recommendations चाहिए होती है PhD करने के लिए. You need some professors to pursue that. But after the new rules which is coming by the UGC, an entrance would be mandatory to get admission done. Now कुछ amendment की बात की गई है जो ड्रॉप करने की बात की गवर्नमेंट ने. So the government regulation for the PhD admission has however offered a relief while dropping two amendments that was made in 2016 and 2018, right? तो कैंडिडेट जो एमफिल के डाइसेशंस देते हैं, दे हैव बीन इवैल्यूएटेड ऑन द रिकमेंडेशंस ऑफ द डिग्री. उसके बाद उनकी एडमिशन होती है पीएचडी प्रोग्राम में, एंड इफ दे हैव नॉट कंप्लीटेड, एक वाइस ओवर्स या फिर फाइनल डिफेंस भी ली जाती है. दिस आर द थिंग्स दैट वर एक्चुअली वर्किंग in terms of pursuing the PhD. Now, candidate who pursue 4-year undergraduate courses, तो गवर्नमेंट ने अभी रिसेंटली ये रेगुलेशंस लाई है कि वो वैसे बच्चे जो 4 ईयर के प्रोग्राम में हैं and whose CGPA is above 7.5 can directly take admission into the PhD. I have already discussed this news in our daily news analysis. If you have not watched that, do check it out. तो ये डायरेक्ट एडमिशन का प्रोसीजर भी स्टार्ट किया है गवर्नमेंट ने रिसेंटली. Now, the regulation permit two admissions, like 2 additional years for women to complete their courses. So this is an additional benefit which is being given to a women candidate. Now, admission procedures की अगर बात करें, around 60% of the admission to the PhD would be done for the candidate who have qualified NEET, and 40% would be done for the non-NEET takers. So this is how the admission process or procedure would continue. However, जो वैकेंसीज होंगी इन सारे सेगमेंट में, कैंडिडेट फ्रॉम अदर सेगमेंट वुड ऑल्सो बी एडमिटेड. बट एक पीएचडी के लिए 3 कोर्सेज हैं मैंडेटरी जो हर एक इंडिविजुअल कैंडिडेट को लेने होंगे. द फर्स्ट वुड बी अ रिसर्च मेथडोलॉजी दैट एवरीवन हैज टू टेक, एंड वन ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट कंसर्न, जो भी इंडिविजुअल जिस पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट में रिसर्च करना चाहता है उसकी एक सब्जेक्ट कंसर्न होगी, and a topic which with their relevant research would be based on. So this is how the 3 important component in terms of PhD would be essentially required to get a final degree, right? So this would have a those who have studied MPhil, they need to study for 3 courses, right? जिन्होंने MPhil किया उनको ये चीज़ों से exemption मिलेगी, but those who are coming directly with the entrance exam or through a 4-year program of undergraduate, they would have to take it. Now, Sri Lanka to set up special Northeast Fund, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is effect of policies and politics for developed and developing countries. So एक मेजर डिसीजन है श्रीलंका की जो गवर्नमेंट है, दे हैव डिसाइडेड टू सेट अप अ नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न डेवलपमेंट फंड दैट वुड इंक्रीज द इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द वॉर अफेक्टेड एरिया, राइट? इन इंडिया तमिल पीपल एसोसिएट देमसेल्फ स्टिल विद द श्रीलंकन, राइट? बिकॉज बहुत सेग्रीगेशन हुई है, बहुत सारी अभी भी एथनिसिटी है जो तमिलनाडु में, और कुछ वहाँ के लोग हैं जो श्रीलंका में रिसाइड करते हैं. So the government has allowed the prohibiting cases for enforcing the disappearance. वैसे लोग जो कि बेसिकली जो बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग जो पार्ट 30 years से वॉर एंड होने के बाद भी जो विस्थापित है, those people who have not actually got their settlement done. So government is looking forward to come with the Northeast Development Fund to make development and compensate that people. So the announcement was made after the Sri Lankan president met the delegations of the Tamil Nadu Alliance, एक largest group of parliamentarian है जो represent करती है north और eastern part of that particular region. So it was a Sri Lanka president that first met with the country Tamil political leaderships since the election office in November 2019. Now क्या क्या डिमांड की गई है जो तमिल नेशनल अलायंस है, उन्होंने क्या डिमांड रखी गवर्नमेंट से? So this TNA, which is Tamil Nadu Alliance, is also demanding the government to deliver a long pending political solutions है with regards to the national questions जहाँ पे new constitution settlement की भी बात की गई थी, and both have sought the postponement of discussion on the political solution. तो जिस गवर्नमेंट की भी फॉर्मेशन हुई, हर एक गवर्नमेंट ने इस सॉल्यूशंस को नजरअंदाज किया. दे हैव नॉट कम टू अ कंक्लूजन, राइट? सो प्रेसिडेंट इन मीनवाइल एट दिस डिस्कशन हैज एग्रीड टू फोकस अपॉन सम की एरियाज which include the possible releasing long-term detainees under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. एक डायकोरियन एक्ट है जो कि श्रीलंका में भी इम्पोज्ड है. तो गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि वैसे लोग जो लॉन्ग टर्म डिटेनीज हैं, द गवर्नमेंट वुड बी रिलीजिंग देम. फर्स्ट. सेकेंड, एंडिंग द इंसिडेंट ऑफ द लैंड ग्रैब जो कि नॉर्थ और ईस्टर्न रीजन में है. उन लोगों की जो डेमोग्राफिक रीजन के हिसाब से जिसको लैंड एलोकेशंस करनी है वो भी की जाएगी. इंक्वायरिंग इनटू द केस ऑफ इन्फोर्स्ड डिसअपियरेंस and establishing a special development fund for the north and eastern region of the country, right? Now, inquiry for the disappeared people, कई ऐसे लोग थे जो वॉर के बाद actual disappear हुए, उनके अभी तक they do not have the information regarding them, the government do not have data as such. So families of the disappeared person, mainly women, who were especially protesting for past 2 years, have demanded the truth for their loved ones who have been missing for surrender during the military and civil war, which has continued for a longer duration of years. Now, the Sri Lankan president has told the Tamil National Alliance, the TNA, that the government would be working with a number of issues. कौन-कौन से issues हैं जिसको government address करेगी? The first is release of suspected head long-term detainees, which I've told you. Those who have not been charged with would be prosecuted, right? ऐसे लोग जिन पे कोई चार्ज नहीं हुआ है, ना ही वो प्रोसिक्यूट किए, उनको भी रिलीज की जाएगी. The launch of truth finding mechanism would be done from the government end to actually benefit the people who were not culprit on that part, right? And resolving the issues related to the missing person. So these are some of the priority areas upon which the Sri Lankan government, the Sri Lanka president has come up with an basically assurance to the Tamil National Alliances. Now, the other news, that is China seeks normalcy in the ties with India. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2, that is India and its neighborhood relations. So, recent में मीटिंग हुई है जो चाइना के फॉरेन मिनिस्टर है, he has made a surprise visit to India and he met the external affairs minister. So in the recent meeting, the Chinese foreign minister and India external affairs minister, they have underlined the need for restoration of the normal ties between India and China's relations, right? तो किस तरह से ये relationship को restore करने की जरूरत है उस पर लेकर के बात हुई. And even the China's foreign minister has stated that two countries share and work together to promote peace, stability in the region and the world. But India has categorically said that until and unless the de-escalations and the resolution not coming in the line of actual control, India would not move ahead. तो देखते हैं इंडिया ने अपने स्टैंड में क्या कहा है. So, after a long discussions, the External Affairs Minister Mr. S. Jaishankar, he has reported that जो Chinese counterpart से बात हुई उन्होंने अपने बातों को clearly रखा and said that the friction and tension that arises from the Chinese deployment in April 2020 cannot be reconciliated unless जो हमारी नेबर्स है खास करके चाइना है वो सारी चीज़ों को नॉर्मल ना करे बिकॉज ऑलरेडी देर हैव बिन 15th राउंड ऑफ मिलिट्री लेवल टॉक बट वी हैव नॉट कम टू एनी कंक्लूजन राइट. So the Chinese foreign minister has arrived India following a surprise trip to Afghanistan, and he actually has. This was not an intimation which was given either from the Chinese side or from the government of India. Now, focus of the meeting. This is something essentially important. इस बार की जो meeting हुई है उसकी क्या-क्या core component पे discussion हुई. So the Ministry of External Affairs has said that the discussion has focuses on the need to expedite इस प्रोसेस को और कैसे फास्ट किया जा सकता है so that the disengagement in the tens of the thousand troops that is deployed in the Himalayan border should be taking a back seat. This is what the government of India has categorically said. The second is that the China has reiterated कि जो border की standoff है वो दोनों कंट्री के बीच में जो एक ब्रॉड स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ रिलेशनशिप है उसको नहीं जाहिर करती है बट डेफिनेटली दे लुक फॉरवर्ड टू मेक नॉर्मैलिटी डन और डी एक्सकलेशन के प्रोसेस को और fasten किया जाएगा. This is what the Chinese government has to say. And India accuses Chinese troop of having intruded in the India's territory, खास करके जो line of actual control है ईस्टर्न लद्दाख के region में वहाँ पे. So what India want? First, you should take all your troops back. एक de-escalations की ज़रूरत है और normalcy तभी आएगी जब चाइना अपनी तरफ से positive gestures दिखाएगा. Now, Ukraine crisis was again an important discussion on this meeting. So both leaders held discussion on the Ukraine crisis. जो इंडिया के foreign minister they have said that there's a need to have an immediate ceasefire and diplomacy dialogue that should be the priority between the Russia and Ukraine. Recently, Russia has invaded Ukraine. कुछ important cities like Sumy and Kiev has been lot destroyed by the Russian military. So China and India have close ties with Russia because चाइना को भी बेनिफिट है रशिया से और इंडिया बहुत सारी मिलिट्री इक्विपमेंट इंपोर्ट करता है. सो रीजन बीइंग दीज टू कंट्री हैज एब्सटेंड फ्रॉम द वोटिंग राइट बट अगेन दे वांट कि ह्यूमैनिटेरियन ग्राउंड पे जो यूक्रेन के साथ हो रहा है वो गलत है. देयर शुड बी अ नेगोशिएशन अ टेबल टॉक दैट शुड कंटिन्यू टू एंड दिस वॉर. Now moving ahead with the editorial of the day, that is forging a social contract for the data. This particular editorial is important for General Studies paper 2, that is government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementation. So what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, I'll be simplifying this editorial by 5 important subhead. The first is a background, second is the aim of the policy, that is the other is incomplete norms, other issues and the way forward. So the entire editorial focuses upon the draft India data accessibility use policy 2022. So let's understand this editorial. Recently, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology उन्होंने draft India data accessibility and use policy release की है for public feedback, and this draft policy aims to provide a robust platform for harnessing the public sector data. किस तरह के data? The first with regard to the informed decision making, second is to make citizen-centric delivery of public services, and third is economy-wide digital innovations. So this is a broad spectrum upon which the entire policy would be backed or harnessed. Now, aim of the policy की अगर बात करें जो गवर्नमेंट लेकर के आई है, सबसे पहली एम है is to maximize the access and use of quality of non-personal data that is applicable for the public sectors. Now, again, second is overcoming the number of historical bottleneck that has continued with regard to the privacy of data of an individual, which Supreme Court in its Puttaswamy judgment has categorically stated that right to privacy is pivotal. Fragmentation of the data sets and departmental silos would be looking into the considerations. Addressing the issues of lack of data quality standard is again the aim of the policy. And last but not the least, that is licensing and valuation of the framework to support the data share. नाउ इनकम्प्लीट नॉर्म्स की बात की गई है एक्सपर्ट्स के द्वारा. इस एडिटोरियल में एडिटर्स ने, कुछ ऑथर्स ने ये भी कहा है कि इनकम्प्लीट नॉर्म्स है. हाउ? बिकॉज द गोवटेक 3 अप्रोच हैज़ अनलॉक द वैल्यूएबल रिसोर्सेज, जहाँ पे पब्लिक सेक्टर्स की जो डेटा है दैट हैज़ बिन अपग्रेडेड विद द ओपन गवर्नमेंट डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म के विजन से, जो कि नेशनल डेटा शेयरिंग एक्सेसिबिलिटी पॉलिसी 2012 को कहीं ना कहीं हिंड्रेंस भी करती है, राइट? So it seeks to harness the data-based intelligence of the government and economic development. So government has said that we'll be using data to ensure that a governance part is promoted and a delivery system economic development is being promoted. So ensuring the citizen awareness, participation and engagement, the data is mentioned with the core objective in the data policy, right? So ये draft जो है define करती है and confine करती है transparency of public data to the non-personal data set. So these are some of the incomplete norms that is coming with regards to the new approach, and even for the previous one is that is the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy 2012. Now some other issues that was highlighted in this editorial include that जो draft policy है that highlights approved data inventories which would be feathered with government wide researchable data. और सिटीजन के पास ये ज़रूरी है that the data set generated during the delivery should contain personal identifiers, right? So these are some of the issues that is again making people concerned about it. And considering that India has no personal data protection law, एक इस तरह की convergent data policy propose करने की ज़रूरत है that should have a draft policy which is especially not problematic in future, right? So we have to align the judgment that is coming from the Supreme Court also. So the lack of data trustee framework give government agencies an unilateral privilege to determine the data licensing. We have seen recently, आप एक न्यूज़ सुनोगे जहाँ पे मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट ने जो खास करके जितनी रोड बसेस या फिर कार्स की या व्हीकल्स की जो रजिस्ट्रेशन हुई थी उनके डेटास को शेयर की थी इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज के साथ. सो दैट हैज़ अगेन लेड टू एन एस्केलेशन एंड ब्रीच ऑफ द प्राइवेसी ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल. Now if you look into the way forward of this editorial, so first and foremost, there is need to have a social contract, which is a data whereby social commons for data is governed by the inappropriate common that should belong to all individual and citizen. Government should be acting as a custodian and trustee of the responsibility that they should take care of individual data and it should not be shared with the wrong entity. So democratization of data value is something essentially required. एक accountability set करने की जरूरत है in terms of the data governance. So you can expect a mains question in the data governance. आपसे mains examination में सवाल पूछे जा सकते हैं with regard to the data governance. Now the draft policy need to revisit it with the perspective in order to resize the data opportunity which is coming too late. Although it's never too late, अगर government policy के साथ आ रही है, then we have to appreciate that. But at the same time, it should ensure that this is favoring the normal citizen of our country. And it should protect the public sector from being captured with a large firm, especially जो big giants हैं like tech giants और economic innovations के नाम पे जो data breach हो रही है उसे रोकने की जरूरत है. Then only this would be fruitful and the law, the draft policy that is envisaged by the government would be impacting to the larger extent of the society. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's question. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है ग्लोबल एजुकेशन मॉनिटरिंग रिपोर्ट किसके द्वारा रिलीज की जाती है. दिस इज बाय यूनाइटेड नेशन एजुकेशनल साइंटिफिक एंड कल्चरल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, यूनाइटेड नेशन चाइल्ड इमरजेंसी फंड और यूनाइटेड नेशन पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन प्रोग्राम एंड वर्ल्ड बैंक. सो यू हैव टू लुक इनटू द इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ दिस और जो खास करके जो ये डेटा है वो कौन सी रिपोर्ट रिलीज करती है और इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के द्वारा भी कौन कौन सी रिपोर्ट इंडेक्सेस रिलीज होती है ये भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. Second is India Cyber Crime Coordination Center. It is under the control of Prime Minister Office in India and it's set up 14C approved in 2018 to deal with the types of crime in comprehensive and coordinated manner. So look for the correct option. If you don't know, you can search it out and know the correct answer. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.